Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Tom Morrissey. I'm the Artistic Director for Theater Now.
And I'm Colleen Harris. I'm the Managing Director.
I want to first tell you just a little bit about Theater Now. We're an artist service organization specifically for musical theater writers, and we support musical theater writers in creating, developing, and producing new musicals. We do this through a variety of different programs that might include readings or workshop development productions. We also have writers groups. We work with writers both locally here in the New York City area as well as nationally. But probably our most visible program is our annual festival of 10-minute musicals, Sound Bites. And tonight you're going to be seeing some of the Sound Bites excerpts that we've done from either this year and some previous ones as well. We've been producing Sound Bites every year annually since 2013. And during the pandemic, we've been doing some virtual sessions of Sound Bites. However, we are very excited to say that we will be back in spring of 2022 in person and live at Merkin Hall. So please join us back then. However, for tonight and also next Friday, you're going to get to see some previews of some things we've done before, as well as some things coming up. So for now, Colleen, take it away.
Thank you so much, Tom. Tom will be back a little bit later just to pop in and say hi again. But I'm going to tell you what we're looking forward to this evening. We have 6 shows, as well as interviews with the creators and Q&As where you can ask your A's on the chat and we will give, or you can ask your Q's on the chat and we'll give you some A's here on this side of the stream. The 6 musicals that we have for you today are A Seat at the Table, a story of a high school student who gets the courage to ask why her U.S. history class doesn't include the history of her culture, by Rebecca Murillo. These Walls, an exploration of transitions, hope, and resilience, by Caitlin Collins and Matthew Lowy. Bittersweet Lullaby, in which 2 singer-songwriters from different eras find themselves cosmically and emotionally linked, by Dylan Gladhorn and Will Lacker. Humpty's Hatching Day, a hip-hop retelling of the classic nursery rhyme by Kenny Harmon and Steve Wallace, with animations by Reginald William Butler. A Relative Relationship, the epic struggle between 2 students, a nerd and a princess, who were caught cheating on a test, by Timothy Wong. And Rise, an avant-garde tale of impoverished security versus uncertain freedom, by Gabrielle Mirabella and Ernie Bird. We'll be showing you how to stay in touch with these artists on the screen along the way. And you can also stay in touch with us. Our social media handle is @TheaterNowNY. And you can also find our website, www.tnny.org, and make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel because we put out different types of programming on this channel pretty often. So let's start the show. First, I'd like to introduce Rebecca Murillo. She's a composer and lyricist, and she is the person behind our first show tonight, A Seat at the Table. Hi,
Hello.
Rebecca. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very excited to be here today.
Me too. And I see you have some fans in the chat, so that's really cool.
Oh, that's amazing. I feel the love. I feel the love.
We are as excited as anybody else to get back to live performance, but it is really nice to have people from all over the country able to enjoy your work. So I'm glad that that's able to happen tonight. If you guys want to follow Rebecca and the rest of her work, you can also follow the link right down below on Instagram. So Rebecca, before we see your work, we want to get to know you a little bit better. This is your first time doing anything with Theater Now, so this is really exciting. What first got you interested in writing music and lyrics?
Wow, New York City. I would say there are 2 answers to this. The first one is being I went to Pace University. I am part of the BFA musical theater program there, and I was very fortunate to take the musical theater writing class there. And at the time, it was headed by Brian Scott Oliver, and in that class, we learned how to write 15-minute musicals. We learned how to write one acts. We learned how to write just like different genres, like the structure of musical theater. And I just fell in love with it. And since then, I kind of just like hit the ground running and started finding what kind of projects, other collaborations I could do. And tied into the second part of the answer is I wanted to see more representation. And I was being told, oh, there's just not enough stories. And so when I did find this love for musical theater, I decided, you know, I'm going to go ahead and like use this information and this knowledge that I now know and try and make something that like makes space for marginalized voices and makes space for stories that we don't normally see on stage.
I love that. And what about musical theater do you feel like makes it a great vehicle to express those ideas?
I mean, I saw The Lion King when I was 4 years old, and it was over for me. Like, like I like sold my soul the minute I saw that. But I think it's just it's the medium of music. I know we can't have the medium of dance or movement because of COVID and the state of the world, but I think it's just being in a room and having this packed as an audience and as like performers on stage, being like, we're going to go through this journey together. And I think the beauty in that is that you find yourself in different parts of the stories, whether it's about something you relate to so specifically, or whether it's something, a new story or a new take or a new point of view you never knew. But it's just that journey that I think is what makes musical theater, I think, one of the most powerful mediums of art.
Fantastic. Well, let's take a look at yours. But before we do, can you set up the clip for us? What are we about to see?
So this is about the first half of A Seat at the Table. We had a bit of a restriction doing the second half, so you'll have to come back and see it live on stage. But essentially, we have a student. Her name is Citlalli Hernandez, and she's a little confused about how she functions in history. And I think a big thing is learning, when you know your history, you know you have a sense of belonging. And there's always this want to other people, especially other people that we don't understand and we don't know. And I think this is a story of one girl and silently an entire classroom of people who are realizing that if they don't have that history behind them, they don't have the knowledge and the power of that, they can't make the change that they want to see.
Was there a specific inspiration that started you wanting to tell this particular story?
It's funny, I was in the middle of writing what I thought was going to be a full length, and I could only write one scene. I had music and I could only write one scene. And then as just one day, I was like, what if that one scene is this 10-minute musical? And throughout the musical, there are instances that I have seen happen to students of color I've gone to school with, instances that have happened to me, a lot of conversations I've had with people within the industry and within my life about being a student of color in a predominantly white narrative, especially a white historical narrative. And I think those are all the things that influenced this piece we're seeing today.
Great. Those of you watching from home, be thinking of any questions you might have for Rebecca, and we'll ask them after we see the clip. Rebecca, we'll see you back on the other side. So now let's take a look at A Seat at the Table by Rebecca Murillo. If you'd like to follow along with the actors, you can find our virtual program at tnny.org/extra-bites. There's also a list of the cast down below in the video description. But now let's pull up the video and take a look at A Seat at the Table by Rebecca Murillo.
A long ship full of Viking rulers and nobility went sailing out to sea. Their westward trade and mercantile brought fear along the isle of present Normandy.
For the seafaring people would know how to pirate and pillage to roll with our guests from overseas. We are the ones with the wind in our sails, with our keels in the sea.
We are the ones who take literals quite literally.
Brandish your sword and follow me. We're the guests from overseas.
Excellent presentation. A round of applause, everyone, for Lila and Bryce and their entertaining refresher on the Viking migration during the Middle Ages. Now, let's keep the ball rolling. We've got a lot to review before our World History Final before we break for the weekend. So let's see. Kevin, you're next.
My presentation is on the French Revolution.
Tongues tied up because they're telling me there's nothing to prove yet. I get this feeling when I walk into a room. A voice says, you're not welcome here, cause if that were true, it would have taught you stories here in school.
Which is how the Spanish conquistadors came to Latin and South America in their quest for land and gold.
Thank you, Dakota. I mean, the societal benefits from their discovery of... Yes, Mr. Martinez?
The Spanish didn't discover anything. The land was already inhabited by the Mayans and the Incans. They took the land by force. It's literally in the name, conquistadors.
I think for the purposes of this class, we are going to stick to the facts. We wouldn't want to step on anyone else's presentation time now, would we?
Cálmate. It's not worth it.
Words shut down when they tell me I don't know what I'm saying. When they talk about my family's history, my point of view, they'll deny and just say I brought the fire. So I'll just take my seat and play the fool.
Tengo razón que no. Si él me hace sentir así otra vez, yo...
No vas a hacer nada. Necesitamos estudiar y pasar esta clase.
Está bien, solo porque no puedo reprobar. ¿Estudiamos este fin de semana?
Sí, pero invitamos a Tomás. Él es más inteligente de la clase.
¿Por qué? ¿Te gusta?
Cállate.
Mr. Spicer, they're doing it again.
What did I say about talking in Spanish in my class, Mr. Martinez?
It wasn't just me. Guess we know who the metiche is.
Well, maybe if you guys would follow the rules instead of mouthing off in Spanish, you wouldn't have to worry about getting caught.
Maybe if you didn't spend all your time trying to be a little white girl, you'd actually know some Spanish.
There's something tearing us apart, but every time I bring it up, they tell me not to start.
What was that, Carolina?
Nothing.
All I'm asking for is a seat at the table. They say work hard, but still it don't feel right. All these other kids can do what they're able. I won't be made to feel wrong or silenced out of spite. I'll fight to sit at that table.
Thomas, you're up.
There's a war inside my heart as history keeps saying my life is for the taking, so I'll have to choose whether I stand up at all or let my voice keep shaking. History is penned by winners, not those who lose.
Great take on Churchill's words.
All I'm asking for is a seat at the table. It's been too long, we've sung this song, and I can't think of this for one more night.
All I'm asking for is a seat at the table. I'm working hard, but still it don't feel right. All these other kids can do what they're able. I won't be made to feel wrong, 'cause everything is white. I'll fight to sit at that table.
And that brings us to the end of our presentations. I will try and get grades out over the weekend, but just know that everyone did a wonderful job with the material. We still have a little time left, so any questions?
All I'm asking for is a seat at the table.
Mr. Spicer?
Oh my goodness, Rebecca, wonderful, beautiful work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I got very excited rewatching it.
Yeah, it's beautifully directed, and that the way that you cut it with the asking the question, and so now we'll have to come back in May to see what happens next.
We'll have to see. Does change happen? I don't know. We'll have to come back and check it out.
Gosh, if anybody has any questions for Rebecca, please put them in the chat. In the meantime, while Robert Cookson said it's stunning. So we've got some fans already happening there in the chat.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, what are you working on other than this at the moment? Because I know there's things, people don't have to wait till May to see what you're doing. So what else are you working on right now?
So I actually, last Friday now, me and my writing partner, Robert Kiki, we just came out with Breathe, which is, we're just one part of 10 10 writing teams who put together this beautiful show about chronicling COVID through the eyes of 5 different relationships. So that is streaming on Ovation Plus, as well as on Spotify and Apple Music. So I think that's all I've got going on, other than just very excited to be here. And yeah.
That's great. So again, make sure you guys are following her on social media so that you can see all about that. I mean, that's fantastic to be on streaming everywhere the way that you are. And it sounds like something that a lot of people will be interested in seeing. We're getting other people from the chat saying, I can't believe I just watched that for free. So another fan, that was Connor McShane, and Amanda Flynn says that song is a bop.
I feel all friends of mine, and I just feel the love. So I appreciate that so much.
That's great. Just one more time, can we put Rebecca's social handle down at the bottom of the screen to make sure that everybody's able to follow her and see what she's up to? Great. And before we let you go, I can't let you go without discussing a fun fact that was in the chat about you, which is that you got started in musical theater as a Mexican folk dancer. When did you start doing that?
So here's the thing. Hi, Mom. So my mom was a Mexican folk dancer. So, and she started when she was in college, I believe. I'm so sorry, Mom, if I messed that up. But, and then when my sister and I came along, she started us at the age of 4. So that's how we got into performing and being on stage. And then somehow along the way, I ventured off and did musical theater. But yeah, that's how I like to say that is how I began with performing, and I'm grateful for it because it kept me connected to my roots and my family, and it colors what I do today artistically.
I love hearing those origin stories. That's really fantastic. So Rebecca's gonna go hop back over into the chat now if you guys want to chat with her. And we're gonna bring our next writing team on. Rebecca, thank you so much for being here with us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So our next musical, These Walls, premiered at our streaming event last November, and we had to bring it back for an encore because everybody loved it so much. It's a touching story about relationships and big life moments, all wrapped up in a lovely 10-minute score. Please welcome the writers of These Walls, Caitlin Collins and Matt Lowy. Hi, guys. Welcome back.
Hi.
Thank you. We're glad to have you back. Yes.
We're thrilled.
As for those who didn't get the chance to see your presentation in November, can you tell us a little bit about the sort of story and the inspiration behind These Walls?
Yeah, well, Caitlin and I were partnered in the BMI Lehman Engel Musical Theater Workshop to write a 10-minute musical. That's the final assignment of the first year. And so we were partnered together, and basically we had to create an original 10-minute musical. Our main goal was to try and tell an entire story that happened in real time in 10 minutes, rather than trying to squeeze something into that time or jump around.
Yeah, exactly. So then we started brainstorming about, well, what are some of the types of stories that would be exciting to both of us to explore? And we both really loved the idea of trying to tell something that had some opportunities, both for some lightness, hopefully a little humor, but then also some moments that could have some real depth and vulnerability. And that's kind of a wide spectrum to fit in 10 minutes. So then the next step was, well, what are some types of life moments that sort of naturally tend to bring out a wide range of complex human emotions? And I had actually just moved recently to New York for the first time. So I think some of those kind of visceral memories of how bittersweet it can be to say goodbye to a place and to people that you love, the hope and the fear that comes from starting someplace new. I think all of that was probably swirling around my subconscious somewhere when the idea of, how about a moving day popped in? And then kind of the final stage of inspiration was, well, what if we get kind of creative with the narrative structure and try having 2 timelines simultaneously instead of just one? That might allow us to sort of be in our real-time goal, but also go farther with our character arcs. So that idea really sparked kind of where our characters and our story grew out of, and we ran from there.
Great. So the book and the lyrics sort of came from what you were going on in your life. How about the music, Matt? What inspired the music in this piece?
Well, Caitlin, the concept of the story came from Caitlin, and was looking at like a first draft of, I think, prose that she had written for the first song. And I was like on a break, I think at Ripley in a studio. And so I like saw it and I was like, oh, I have to look at it. And it kind of just, a lot of it came out pretty easily, naturally, to set music to her lyrics or her text. But yeah, musically, like Caitlin was saying, the goal was to kind of create the excitement and urgency at the beginning, at least with like this new couple coming in, but also have some underlying depth and room for darkness underneath, all at the same time. Yeah, so musically that's the goal throughout, to kind of have both going on, especially since both time period narratives are happening at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you reached the goal, and we'll be able to watch it in just a few seconds. But before we show the clip, Caitlin, can you set it up for us? Let us know who we're going to be seeing.
Absolutely. So we had such a great team that made this happen. Scott Weinstein was our director and editor, and our cast includes Leana Ray Concepcion, Melody Boutiou, Drew McVitie, and Daniel Scott Walton.
Great. So make sure, those of you watching, if you have any questions for Caitlin and Matt, that you put them in our chat. And let's take a look now at These Walls by Caitlin Collins and Matt Lowy. Here it is.
The key won't.
Try it the other way. Turn it like...
We did it! Hello, home. Say hello.
Hello, home.
This is our home. We live here.
We live here now. Man, that traffic sucked.
Yeah, the roads were fucked,
But it doesn't matter. Because we're home. Wait, we didn't do the thing.
What
The
thing?
threshold thing. Come on out here, Liz.
What are you talking about?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh my God, Jeff! Hello, walls. Say hello.
We talk to walls now.
Glad to meet you. We live here
now. Look, that bulb is out. That'll need some grout.
But it hardly matters because we're home. Who'd have thought from that fateful study hall?
One day we'd be talking to this wall. Hello, home.
Here we are. We're adulting. It's kind of weird.
It's freaking weird.
Look, I brought some beer.
Cheers to being here
And
to all that matters. Now that we're home.
Feels so much bigger without any furniture. Can we afford to fill it?
Oh, we'll fill it. I'm thinking hot tub there.
Obviously, disco ball.
Yes, and of course our love will fill it all.
Gross. What's that cliche? The one about...
I thought real writers hate cliches.
Shut up. If these walls could talk, what would they say? What do you think these walls will say?
Right now, they're probably saying, damn, these new people are way hotter than that old couple.
If these walls could talk.
No, I mean years from now. If these walls could talk.
What do these walls say years from now?
Yeah.
They'll say Liz is perfect, and Jeff, he's not bad. And they are the best mom and dad.
They will say that, won't they?
Absolutely. Well, not like imminently.
Right. Like 3 to 5 years, they might say that.
You know, or like 2 to 4 years. Who knows?
Who knows? Hello, life.
Here we are. Just imagine the things in store.
Tiny little feet.
Cute enough to eat. We'll have all that matters. Now that we're home.
I just remembered all of the Diet Cokes I had on the road and I have to pee so bad.
Oh, wait, now I do too.
No, don't you dare. I called it first. Oh my god, we have 2 bathrooms!
2 bathrooms!
Well, the movers are off. Pretty sure I heard glass shatter as they pulled out. You about ready, Liz?
I guess so. God, look at this
Yeah,
place.
it's strange, isn't it?
It seems smaller somehow. If these walls could talk.
Shh, listen. Jeff was right. Should have gotten the hot tub.
48 inches. My writing desk can figure, don't you think?
Sure.
And you know what can go right over there? The dog bed.
You know I'm not a dog person.
We'll see.
Oh my god. I forgot we slid the couch over where PJ scratched up the floor.
Oh, PJ. Maybe we should get a new dog.
I don't know.
Oh, let's do it. I think it'd be good for you.
We'll see. If these walls could.
I'm gonna do one last sweep.
35 years of birthdays and Wednesdays and days that we'll never get back. 35 years of dishes and groceries and questions we'll never unpack. 35 years of moments and fragments wrapped up and labeled and gone. What's the total of 35 years? And what does it mean to move on?
Once we get settled and you start having some more time on your hands, you can finally write that novel of yours.
Huh. Right.
I couldn't paint over them.
30 inches, 32 inches, 35 inches, 41 inches, 43 inches, 46 inches, 48 inches, 48 inches, 48 inches, 48. Even after all this time, it feels like we're abandoning him somehow.
No, we're not abandoning him.
I know, we're not, obviously. This is really hard.
Yeah, of course.
It's allowed to be hard.
I'm sorry.
Careful, that one's heavy.
Did I tell you my sister doesn't believe me that we never fight?
Yeah, she's just jealous of our mad communication skills.
Yeah, she is.
You know, it'll be good to be closer to Mel. She'll be so glad to have your help with the baby.
Grandparents. My God.
Shall we keep at it?
Hey, how did we miss that?
Wait, what's that?
Oh my God.
I thought we could leave it like the people before us. Finding it felt like...
I remember.
It's a sign.
Literally.
We're where we're supposed to be.
Bless this mess? No, you don't know us yet, but that's rude, Walls. We're going for perfection here.
That's right.
The perfect life. If these walls could talk.
If these walls could talk, they'd say life is messy, and they understood that we did the best that we could.
Hello, home. Here we are. Just imagine the things in store.
Say these walls collapse.
We'll pick up the scraps because all that matters is that we're home.
35 years.
We're home.
You're my home.
we are. You are my home. Can't believe after all that we've been through that I get to build a life with you.
That'd be the cab. You ready?
Are we ever? Goodbye, home. Say goodbye.
Goodbye, home.
Oh, it gets me every time. And our chat is on the same page as me. Rice Collins said, weeping. Robert Cookson said, this is so beautiful and the acting is incredible. It's hard to believe they weren't all in the same room. It's such a beautiful video.
Thank you. No, our actors were amazing and they just poured their hearts out to air. I mean, it's astounding what they did. So that's a testament to them. And also to our director, Scott. He live zoomed in with them and coached them and gave them very specific sort of focal point blocking so that they could, we could create something. I say he could create something that made it feel like they were in the same space. So yeah, team effort for sure.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I'm so glad we were able to show it again this time around as an encore performance. Amanda Flynn said, great job. Leana Ray Concepcion, who was in both A Seat at the Table and this.
Yes, such a star.
She wound up being double cast months apart. It's it's amazing how those things line up. I did want to ask you guys another question before we let you go. You know, all of us are looking forward to live theater coming back. What are you looking forward to the most as we sort of step into a new age of theater?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I'm so excited to feel that the electricity that comes from being back in a shared space, you know, sharing the same oxygen as the actors, riding a wave of laughter with people around you, the intermission buzz. So all of those beautiful sensory things that make live theater so unique. But I think also my hope is that we'll be coming back to a theater landscape that won't just be going back to, you know, the same normal, but hopefully as a result of some of the important conversations that we've been having as a country and as an industry, my hope is that the landscape will be open to, you know, just greater equity and a higher level of accountability within the theater world, so that we can tell great stories and be safe doing it. And yeah, that's my hope.
Oh, Matt, you're muted.
I'm hoping that our capabilities in streaming will continue and hopefully like give voice to more writers as well in terms of getting new work out there, because we've become better at the virtual stuff in the last year. But yeah, like Caitlin was saying too, can't wait for theater to be back live, but also can't wait to hold the whole industry and ourselves, each other, to a higher standard. In terms of holding each other accountable for equity within the industry.
Yeah, it's great to have geography not be a barrier for people the way it maybe once was. We did get a question from the chat that I'd like to ask you guys because I'm curious about it myself. Eric Shark said, the scope of the songs reminded me of Maltby and Shire. Are they an influence? And if not, who are your influences?
Musically, I don't know. I wouldn't, off the top of my head, say that Maltby and Shire were like a huge influence for me. I know, like in the theater world, Sondheim, Adam Guettel is like where I tend to drift, but I can definitely see I can see David Shire's music a little bit too. I love their work.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And maybe someday people will be pointing to Collins and Lowy as their inspirations in Soundbites 47.
Right.
That's very kind.
It was great to see you guys again, and we'll look forward to seeing this live. I can't imagine how moving that will be in a live space next May. Thank you again for being here with us.
Thanks for having us
Thank you
back.
so much, Colleen.
Bye.
Bye.
So while Theater Now strove over the past year to continue supporting writers like Caitlin and Matt and bringing musical theater to all of our audiences like you at home, we also took the time to consider where Theater Now is going next. And we want to take a few minutes to share our mission and our goals with you. So to do that, I'm going to bring on a very special guest, Theater Now's board president, Camille Ann White. Hi, Camille.
Hi, Colleen. It's great to see you. This is such a beautiful program. I'm having a wonderful time.
I'm glad to hear it. Thank you so much for being here to represent our board of directors. You became our board president very recently, and we're so excited to have you. You've been such a wonderful ambassador for us in terms of our mission in speaking with other organizations and in speaking with audiences like what we have here. So I was wondering if you would do us the pleasure of doing that now and sharing what Theater Now is up to.
Sure. So first and foremost, Theater Now, we think of ourselves as an artist service organization. Our mission is to support and encourage emerging writers of musical theater. And we want to do that in every way possible, from the development process and working on their actual writing and crafting. We want to provide performance opportunities to engage with audiences, to have their work presented, which is really unique for people in the early stages of their career, and really to take the whole trajectory going toward full productions of their work. And we really want to amplify voices, expand what it means to be a part of the musical theater world.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And what can people do to help us reach those goals?
Sure. So there are a number of different ways that you can get involved with Theater Now. I'll first note, we are a very small organization. And so, obviously we live in a financial world. So any donation you're able to make, no matter how small, is hugely impactful. And, I will note that it is a hard time for a lot of people. So if you're able to donate even a small amount, that's wonderful. If you're not able to donate, there are lots of other ways you can still get involved with Theater Now and supporting our mission. We have a mailing list that you can be joined to be part of really getting the news on what events we have coming up. You can become a member of Theater Now for a small fee of $25, and that helps you to get discounted tickets to our ticketed live events. So for example, as Tom mentioned, our May 2022 Soundbites, where you'll get to see all of these performances and some additional ones in person. We also have a lot of different programs. We have a Writers Lab program that has been continuing through the pandemic virtually. Looking forward to getting those writers together in the same room again. But at the same time, we also, this gave us an opportunity to launch a national writers program. And so that expands the teams with whom we can work beyond just the New York area. If you have writers in your life who are interested in musical theater, or new writers who are just getting started, share some of our programs with them. Forward them our invitations to events, or when applications open up for the next round of our writing group. You mentioned things coming in the future. We are looking to launch a high school musical writers lab, and we're really excited about that, and really getting to the emerging part of writers at every stage and every age group. Attend some of our events. We have readings coming up, and readings are invitation only, but if you sign up for our mailing list, you'll get an invitation. And that's a great opportunity as an audience member to witness the birth of a new work, as well as to feel like you can contribute some meaningful feedback to artists as they're developing a new production. So there's so many different ways. I can go on. I don't know if you've mentioned that we have a book out.
That's true.
That's 25 musicals from the history of Soundbites, and the anthology. It's a really great resource. It's fun reading as well. If you've seen the shows, it's even more fun. If you haven't, it's a great window. We have a licensing program with MTI that is, really exciting, because we're happy to provide these opportunities to our writers, so that in addition to performance, they can really expand their exposure and the use of their work in the theater world. So maybe you're a high school drama program, or maybe you're a community theater, or maybe you're a group of friends who like to do, live theater together, whatever the case may be, there's so many different ways you can get involved, stay connected. If you're big on social media, I'm sure that Colleen has been dropping the social media links throughout the show, but there are just so many different ways you can be involved beyond even just enjoying the program tonight.
I couldn't have said that better myself. I'm so glad that you're here to do it. Speaking of the book and the licensing, our next guests actually are in the book, and their show that we're going to see now is licensable through MTI. So would you mind sticking around here with me and talking with them?
Absolutely. I love Bittersweet lullabies. I'm sure that Dylan and Will are sick of hearing me say that.
It's part of, it was one of the first things you saw with Theater Now, right?
It was. It wasn't the first, but I did get the opportunity to see it in Soundbite 6.0, and that was just a really. It's such a moving piece. I can immediately just close my eyes and feel transported back into the theater and see it taking place live, and I just love the creativity of the concepts. But I will let Dylan and Will talk about that.
Well, let's bring them on so they can do just that. Please welcome to the stream composer and lyricist Dylan Gladhorn and book writer and lyricist Will Lacker, whose show Bittersweet Lullaby will be showing just a snippet of in a few minutes. Hi, guys. Welcome.
Hey, what's up?
there. How's it going?
Good. Thank you for your kind words.
Yes.
Oh, great to see you guys again.
Yeah.
And
Great to see you.
so you guys were in Soundbite 6.0, which was our most recent live version of the festival. And since then, you've become part of our Theater Now family. We have pulled you in, and you're not allowed to leave. You're in the book. You're licensable through us. You're also in our Writers Lab, our musical Writers Lab, which meets once every 2 weeks to present work to one another and offer feedback to one another and support. And we produced a reading of your new full-length musical, The Pelican, just last December, was it?
Which was wonderful.
It was December.
Time doesn't exist anymore.
No. It's all fake.
So all of that has happened, most of it has happened during the pandemic. Can you talk to us a little bit about what this past year has been like as writers, as artists?
Sure.
Aside from just the general existential dread that I'm sure everybody else is, facing and all of that, to silver lining it definitely afforded us a great deal of collaborative time to work together. I live in Queens, Dylan lives in Brooklyn, which is the same town, but working together live was inevitably balance of schedules and commutes and stuff, and this past year gave us all the free time we could hope for.
Yeah, Will and I used to always do 1 day a week in person, and because it's virtual this past year, we bumped it up to 2, especially after we got the NAMPT grant and we knew the fire was under us to finish a first draft of The Pelican and cut down on commute times, and and also it kind of eliminated excuses, so we met every Monday and Friday and finish the first draft.
Yeah, at the very least, every Monday and Friday. There were some weeks where we were, I don't know, and that's just official times, not even like texting in betweens and
right, exactly.
all alone time. But yeah, all the free time we could and all the focus that we could want, as I guess is the silver lining out of all of this.
That sounds great, and I do agree that time is not real. So a question for you. So I really enjoyed the Pelican reading, and that was my first time attending a virtual reading. So it was, a really interesting experience, but also it felt really engaging, kind of seeing behind the curtain in a different way. So what was it like for the two of you as far as staging a streaming reading and what kind of, how that worked for you as far as your development process for the Pelican?
Well, I think that's something that we wanted to achieve. We had the benefit of it being a reading rather than it attempting to be a full production. So we never wanted it to not appear as if it was Zoom. Like, I feel like we embraced the medium to a certain extent. But with that, you have the hurdles of people's internet connection and just scheduling and kind of audio issues and stuff like that. But I think all told, it came out much, it came out pretty well.
I mean, there is nothing like being in one room
Certainly.
with everybody and singing together, but certain benefits to doing it virtually are that we were able to just play the composer demos and people had to put up with me singing everything, but we could make last minute changes and the actors weren't responsible for learning totally new songs or everything, so it allowed more for us to think on the fly and make last minute changes right up until the reading.
Also, all of our actors were scattered across the country at that
Yeah.
point in time, so no one was bound to one specific location, which is interesting. We were calling friends who moved out of the city years ago to perform, so that's kind of fun.
A whole new world.
It really is.
So we're going to see now the musical that brought you to us in the first place, Bittersweet Lullaby. And I know Camille saw it live, and we are going to now share a song from it. Can you set this song up and tell us a little bit of the inspiration behind it?
Sure. So it's a 10-minute piece that we wanted to tell a whole story, beginning, middle, and end in that 10 minutes. And one of the challenges when we were sort of spitballing ideas for a 10-minute musical is we wanted to almost give the illusion of a shared, take advantage of just the nature of the live theater in a single location, but one that you could apply and, add imagination and manipulate the space to. So essentially it's one location, but it's revealed over the course of the musical that it takes place decades apart. So that's like a reveal that is really hard to capture aside from in a theatrical situation,
Yeah. So let's take a look now at the clip from Bittersweet Lullaby, and you guys will come back afterwards for a Q&A, but we'll say goodbye to Camille for now. Camille, thank you so much for being here with us. We loved having you.
Thank you so much. Great to be here. I'm really excited to see Bittersweet Lullaby again, and great to chat with you, Will and Dylan.
Good to chat with you. Thank you.
So now let's take a look at this clip from Bittersweet Lullaby, starring Michelle Doughty and Jason Vesey.
I were dreaming, how would I know? Would I still feel you haunt me so? Your gentle voice rings in my ears, singing sweetly as the world disappears. Each wandering note, an aching cry in your bittersweet lullaby. If I were dreaming,
If this all were a dream,
how would I know?
how would I know?
I still feel you haunt me so.
You haunt me so.
Gentle voice
I hear your
rings
voice
in my ears,
pass through the years,
singing sweetly as the world disappears. Each wandering note,
an
aching cry in your bittersweet lullaby. In your bittersweet lullaby.
It's just too short. That's the only problem with that clip. It's just too short. Their voices sound so wonderful together. Timothy Wong's song said, I mean, wouldn't you just commit murder for a voice like Jason Vesey's?
And Michelle Doughty.
Little known
And
fact,
Michelle
Jason
Doughty.
Vesey did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, he did. That's how he got it.
Yeah.
That'd be a great musical to write. So everybody on the comments are just saying that it's so beautiful and wonderful. And we also have a fun fact that popped up in the chat, which is that the two of you and Michelle Doughty, who we heard singing in that clip, all went to the same middle school and high school together.
Yes, we did in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any idea you would end up being friends these many years later and collaborators?
We had a very beautiful little odd community of theater down in Florida. It actually doesn't surprise me too much. I feel like a lot of our friends are still the friends we grew up with. You know, so Pinellas County Center for the Arts is the high school, and it's kind of it was insular, and I like to think that the education model there was even more challenging than college in some ways, as far as the training and everything. So it really kind of you know, formed
Talent
our
runs
circle
deep in St.
in a
Pete,
real way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then everybody just picked up and moved to New York. So
Yeah, exactly.
It's like thinking of it as like thinking we would be friends in the future. We just never stopped being friends. So it's just
yeah,
we all just held hands and got on a plane together, I guess.
That's a very, very lucky thing, I think. That's really wonderful. So what else are you guys working on? What should we be keeping in touch with you to stay abreast of?
It's all about the Pelican.
All about the Pelican, yeah.
All about the Pelican.
So after the reading, we quickly got to work on the second draft. Just finished the second draft last month, and now we're waiting for things to open up and let the Pelican see the light of day.
Yeah, we're playing the waiting game now.
Yeah.
So let's throw those social media handles back up so everybody can follow you. And also, if you guys make sure that you are following at Theater Now NY and that you are on our mailing list so that you will know when any Theater Now collaborations with Will and Dylan are happening. Also, don't forget that the Bittersweet Lullaby, which you just saw, is available as part of the book. tny.org/anthology-book. And it's also licensable. So if you want to do it in your neck of the woods, whether you're in St. Petersburg, Florida, or whether you're in Brooklyn or Queens, which I agree sometimes seem like a world apart, you can license that musical and do it with your theater group. Thank you guys so much for being here with us. We really appreciate it. I'm excited to finally see you guys in person, hopefully very soon.
Yeah, we can hug again.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't that just be the best?
It sounds great.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Our next presentation is another of our new musicals that will be presented as part of Soundbite 7.0 in May. It's Humpty's Hatching Day. It premiered as part of our streaming event last November, and has subsequently gone on to win multiple awards at film festivals. We're so excited to bring it back and talk once again with its creators, book writer and lyricist Kenny Harmon, and composer Steve Wallace. Hey,
Hi,
fellas.
everybody. Hey, how's it going, Colleen?
It's going great. I'm having a great time watching these musicals again.
Awesome. Yeah, we are too. Yeah, definitely.
Well, we're excited to show Humpty's Hatching Day again. It was a fan favorite last time. You can't deny the catchy tunes, the sort of new spin on a familiar story, and of course the amazing animations that are involved here. Since we last saw it, it actually has gone on. You guys have put it in some different film festivals, and you've won some awards, like the Remy Award. I know you won. Steve, can you tell me more about what that is? How did that come about?
So after we did the sound bites, the virtual last year, we decided that, you know, from the great response we got, to submit it to some short film festivals for short films. And we submitted to a few others that are kind of spinning. I'm waiting to hear from. But the one that got back to us was World Fest Houston, and it was interesting how it all happened. But World Fest Houston is a really long running film festival. It's been going on for like years, like decades. And we won a Remy Award for animation short. So we were kind of surprised and excited about it when we got the best. Actually, Kenny emailed me because we were talking about just telling people about, hey, we're in the festival, everybody. And he was like, I think we won an award. I'm like, really? So it was pretty cool. So we're excited about that.
Well, so is the people in the chat, because V. Currit said, yay for Humpty. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Yay, thank
Congratulations
you.
all around. Kenny, what's it like seeing your little show get so many accolades?
Oh, it's amazing. This is a case, Steve and I first submitted this for sound bites, and we thought, oh, we'll see what happens. And then we got in, and then like everybody else, we had to make adjustments. We had to make lemonade out of lemons. And so we both thought, oh, this would be really great as a cartoon. And luckily, Steve called in a favor or 10,000, I don't know, and got this amazing animator to work his magic. And so the journey continues. It's kind of what happens when you put one foot in front of the other and kind of do the next thing that's apparent. So it's pretty amazing.
I love that. Since then, you also have joined in January. You joined our writers group, our musical theater writers group that meets every couple of weeks. So you're in that same group with Dylan and Will, who we just talked to. And in that group, you're working on a new musical together, a full-length musical, The Count of Monte Cristo.
Yep.
Yes.
So another retelling of a well-known story, but this time maybe a little more dramatic.
Yeah, a lot more dramatic.
A lot more dramatic, but still with a twist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we'll tell people about the twist. I'm sure they'd be interested to hear.
Yeah, sure. I read The Count of Monte Cristo maybe when I graduated college, and it became one of my top 5 like of the classic novels, or the ones that they tell you to read in school or whatever. So I really loved it for its story, and not necessarily because of the overarching story is about vengeance, and this guy has done wrong at the beginning and is wrongly accused and sent to prison, and he comes back to, get vengeance on everyone. But the story actually has this thing at the end where it's about more about redemption, and how we can't try to enact vengeance on our own, and how we need to rely on God to do it, even the scales, and bring justice. But what I wanted to do, I love the story so much, and I saw the idea of this, this wrongly accused person, and I thought about my experience as a Black man in America, and I was like, and considering that Alexandre Dumas, the writer of the original novel, was also biracial, I was like, wow, I wonder if he was thinking about it like that in his time, and I started thinking about who to work with and who to help adapt something like this. So that's how me and Kenny started talking about that.
Well, you can.
We're keeping in, of course, all the major plot points, but we're, as Steve said, really looking for the allegory, because you have a mixed race author living in those times, dealing with a lot of the same issues that certainly are prevalent today, that we've protested about this summer, and really trying to bring that to light, and the commonalities and how history changes but yet remains the same in some ways.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to take a listen to The Count of Monte Cristo at its current sort of drafting form, you can take a look at the Behind the Lab video that stars Steve and Kenny. It is on our YouTube channel. So if you want to follow the YouTube channel that you're watching right this minute, you can go and listen to some music from that. But let's switch gears back to Humpty Dumpty, Humpty's Hatching Day. Why did you choose this particular nursery rhyme?
Steve's fault.
It's my fault.
Assigned to this, Steve said, I've been reading these nursery rhymes to my daughter, and I'm always like, where did they come from? And the first one he mentioned was Humpty Dumpty, but he also mentioned some other ones too. And so my marching orders were a Humpty Dumpty origin story, and then he also said something about wanting to work in other characters. And so I kind of took that away and sat with it. And the turning point for us, which I did wanted to mention, was you'll hear a reference to Digital Underground's Humpty Dance. And if you don't know, the lead rapper of the group passed away early this year. So we want to give a shout out to him, because he was definitely a big motivating factor and influential figure for both of us and in the piece. So, add in a 90s rap song, and here you have it.
Here you have it. As Thomas Morrissey mentioned in the chat, Humpty Dumpty is also very dramatic, particularly in this telling. We're going to have a Q&A with you guys afterwards, but for now, let's take a look at Humpty's Hatching Day. This is Humpty's Hatching Day by Kenny Harmon and Steve Wallace, with wonderful animations by Reginald William Butler. Let's take a look.
Tonight's the night, my time, a moment to shine. It's time to hatch, spread wings and claim what's mine. My suit's the best, my curves make them sweat. My favorite scent from Hubbard's cabinet. I'm coming out my shell tonight. You can tell tonight. Tomorrow is my hatching day. No longer just an egg, no way. My party's hot, Jack Sprat secured the spot. And Jill's my date, I know it's gonna be great. I'm making moves, black sheep is spinning the grooves. I'm cutting loose, all thanks to Mother Goose. I'm coming out my shell tonight. Gonna yell tonight. The mother folks don't stand a chance when I do my Humpty dance.
Yeah, do the Humpty dance.
Yo, Humpty, you're late for your own party. All right, gotta make that splash.
Jack my sprat, this party's hot, no doubt.
You're a good egg, Hump. You know we had to turn it out.
Hi, Humpty. Love the new suit.
Thanks, Jill. The little tiara's cute.
A little bling, right?
You have the coolest style.
And we put it to use, went the extra mile.
Humpty, wow, it's your special night. You hatch tomorrow.
Yeah, you got that right.
I can't wait to see what you'll be. In the meantime, save a dance for me.
First dance?
Hold on, Spud, I got you beat. She'll promise to take the first dance with me.
Yeah, sorry, it's spoken for.
Wait, are you two?
Well, we're not sure.
When Humpty Dumpty report to the dance floor.
What? All right, my night. My night. Why's my chest so tight? I'm dizzy.
Yo, she get busy. Let's do the excellent for our boy Hump.
I see that you want it.
You know you want it, want it.
I know you can taste
Got all the
it.
flavor.
No need to rush it, slow it down. Don't wanna waste it.
It's too good to waste. Come on.
You're gonna love it.
It tastes so good.
It's nutritious.
Got all the vitamins, Spud.
Hitting the spot, your wish come true. It's so delicious.
What's it called, y'all?
Egg salad.
Toss it up.
Egg salad.
Stir it up.
Egg salad.
Mix it up.
Make it chunky. Egg salad.
Spice it up.
Egg salad.
Serve it up.
Egg salad.
Fill me up.
Yummy, yummy. Music is thumping, got something to prove. My heart is jumping, makes me wanna move. You make the best night of my life. Let's keep it pumping, keep up the groove.
My heart is broken.
Egg salad.
Romeo, yeah.
Egg salad.
This is the worst night of my life, and I ain't joking.
Egg salad.
Toss it up.
Egg salad.
Stir it up.
Egg salad.
Mix it up.
Make it chunky. Egg salad.
Spice it up.
Egg salad.
Serve it up.
Egg salad.
Fill me up.
Yummy, yummy.
Hey, Jill,
Yeah.
want some fresh air? Maybe up to Well Hill? The moon jumping contest is supposed to start around 10.
Sure, Jack. Hey, we'll be back.
Hey, where you going? Where you going? This was supposed to be my magic night, a very special night. It's Humpty's night. The love that would have hatched, the girl I would have catched a memory, not meant to be riding it. There's Jack once more, he just is everything. He has everything. A high school king. He didn't have to do it. He didn't have to go for Jill, my queen. A really mean trick to play. And now they're out there under the starry sky, trading cuddles and making love at nights. Oh, why can't I? I guess I'm just
ask you out tonight.
I know. Humpty's nice for him.
Man, here I am, just a sad ovum. So much for Casanova. When will a girl love me for me? When will they see beyond this pearly shell? Aesop, give Humpty the loving he deserves. When will they appreciate these curves and swerves? Tomorrow, when I hatch, I'm gonna have all the boxes, the jills, the spoons, the Bo Peeps, and all the Goldilocks. That'll show them. They should have gotten this egg when they had the chance. I'm gonna be a swarm, a big bad peacock or an eagle that can poke your eyes out, no doubt. I'll show them all. Where'd he go? Let me climb this wall.
Humpty dearie, eyes are bleary. You should be a happy chum. Parties humming, hatchings coming. Tell your Bitsy why so glum.
Bitsy, it's my saddest day. Jack stole my Jill away. I gotta get her back, and how? I wish that I could hatch right now.
You can do it, let's get to it. Hatching early's quite the thing. Need some distance, hard resistance. Crack that shell, become a king. Humpty, you could have it all. Humpty, you'll be standing tall. You can't be afraid to fall. You just take a jump from the wall. No more tears now. Fight your fears now. Grind those gears now. Get it cracking.
Humpty Sack, send him packing. Getting Jill back, get it cracking.
No more tears now.
Humpty Sack,
Fight your fears now.
send him packing.
Grind those gears now.
Getting Jill back is my hatching time.
What happened? You're supposed to be cracked.
Looks like the trickster got tricked right back. Look at my feathers, I look so pulled together. Nice plume and bloom, great for any weather.
We ran when we heard the sound.
Good gracious, Hump, the flyest bird around.
Look at those wings, you should go for a test run. Go swoop, go dive, yo, go have some fun. I've been waiting too long for this day. It's Humpty's time, let's fly, fly away.
Who would have guessed my egg was so depressed? But now,
Look at him
fly.
His broken heart, a chance to make a start and soar
Into the sky.
Give a little time, all things change. What has made you frown can rearrange.
To joy, give it a while.
your tears into a smile.
In time,
You'll find your way.
in time, you'll find a way. In time.
And all was fly, so they say. So ends the story of Humpty's hatching day.
You started a dance party in the chat.
That's the idea, right?
I mean, it makes you want to move. It absolutely does.
Yeah. Yeah. It does.
Thank you so much for letting us show it again. I really appreciate that. And we cannot wait to see this live. I mean, the energy in the theater is going to be insane. Everybody should make sure they're following your socials down below to keep in touch with what's happening on the festival circuit with Humpty's Hatching Day. Steve, you also have another movie that's out called Hal King that
That's
I encourage
right.
everybody to go see. You can see it on Amazon. You can see it on iTunes. It's all over the place. It's a wonderful movie. You did all the music for that.
Yes.
You produced it as well, right?
Yeah, me and my wife Robbie, we produced it together, and I couldn't have got it done without her. That's a fact for sure. And we had some other people as well that were part of the team. It takes so many people to make something like that happen. Yeah, it was a family event, making sure it happened. So grateful for her.
Another thing that's sort of in the pipeline is Animal Farm, the musical, which Steve, you wrote, is going to be our next virtual reading. And
That's
as
right.
Camille mentioned earlier, if people would like to come to that reading and also give valuable feedback to it, but enjoy the story of Animal Farm in a musical form, then make sure you're on our mailing list, because that's how the invitations will be sent out for that virtual reading. We're so excited about that happening. And it's happening next month in June.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, I have to let you know that Matt Lowy said, "Make It Chunky" is forever one of my favorite musical theater lyrics of all time. He actually spelled it "Make It Chunky." I said it wrong.
This guy.
How did you feel when you first read those lyrics, Steve? Did you know it was going to work as well as it does?
I would
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
I knew immediately. I was everyone knew that this was going to work.
No, so I was a little concerned because I was like, okay, this is gonna get a little too corny. I don't know. Are you sure about the chunky, man?
Yeah.
but I mean, it's really great. I mean, I think the idea and the concept that Kenny brought together with it, and then the food references and stuff, and the double entendres, it works really well.
I agree. It
Thank
works
you,
so
Kenny.
well. Thank you both for being here with us. We really appreciate it. We can't wait to see it in May.
Bye. Good to
Thanks.
see
It's
you.
great to be here
Guys,
with
good night.
everyone. Have a good one.
Bye, guys. So from a musical that has not yet had its live debut, Humpty's Hatching Day, to a musical from our very first Soundbites in 2013. We're going to bring next Timothy Huang, who is going to join us now. He wrote A Relative Relationship, which was in our first Soundbites festival. Please welcome into the stream. Hey,
Hi.
Timothy, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm enjoying myself tonight for sure.
Me too.
So, A Relative Relationship is a story about two students from different backgrounds who get into an epic struggle when they're caught cheating on a test. When you first wrote this in 2013, did you have any idea that it would wind up in a book and licensable and have the life that it still does 8 years later?
No, absolutely not. I will say that when I wrote it, I did know that it was doing what I wanted it to do, and it was making audiences feel what I wanted them to feel. But I thought beyond that, like it was just sort of this sort of ephemeral moment in my story, I guess. And it's become this thing that just will not end, which I'm very, very thankful for. I was actually telling a friend of mine last night that the full length that I wrote that same year, which is now known as American Morning, which I guess people still talk about, but it still hasn't seen a single full first class production, despite having won multiple awards. And it's a little like, oh man, all I had to do was write a 10-minute about these siblings. Spoiler alert: these step siblings kind of beating each other up, and that would have done it. But who knew? Coulda, woulda, shoulda, I guess.
Who knew? Well, if you'd like to produce a relative relationship, you can go to mtishows.com/10-minute musicals, and you can license it there. If you would like to produce, what is it, American Morning?
It's called American Morning, yes.
American Morning. If you want to produce that, then you can follow Timothy Wongstagram, and you can slide into his DMs and talk to him there. He'll accept all producers who slide in. What inspired this show when you first wrote it?
This is really interesting. The year that I wrote it, I started kind of a long-term, what would become a long-term working relationship with the actor Jennifer Blood. You might know her from Matilda. She was Miss Honey, I think, when they closed that show. And she was also recently in The Girl from the North Country before it shut down due to the pandemic. And we had sort of we had a lot of shared DNA in terms of our history and our background. We both studied at Cap 21 when it was at NYU. And I just sort of we really just sort of kind of hit it off and had this really kind of great rapport. And so this was initially a BMI first year 10-minute project. And when I went to write it, I sort of took her to dinner. We went to the sushi place on 45th Street that's no longer there, sadly, Kodama. And I sat her down, and it was very professional. I was like, I want to write a show about or for you and for me to kind of be ourselves on stage, not be ourselves, but a version of ourselves on stage. And I sort of pitched her this short story about these two kids at summer camp who were trying to be grown up, but really weren't. And that's sort of where it came from. And I said to her, this isn't what I want to write. This story about the summer camp isn't, but something like that. That's sort of our relationship, and that's basically where it came from. Just sort of an excuse for she and I to behave like children.
I love seeing adults as children on stage.
Yeah.
Whether it's Your Good Man, Charlie Brown, whatever it is, I think that always works really great. So let's take a look now at a clip from A Relative Relationship. This is the opening, right? So we don't need too much of a setup to understand what's going on.
All we really need to know is they've been caught cheating, and they're sitting in the vice principal's office waiting for her to return and dole out punishment.
Great. So here is the opening bit of A Relative Relationship by Timothy Wong.
Can someone please explain my relative relationship to time? Like how in class, when I look up to watch the clock, the hands never move and the hours never chime. But when I'm sitting in the office of Vice Principal Delancey, I'm sweaty and I'm nervous, I'm fidgety, I'm antsy. The seconds just keep coming like foreshadowing the knell. The clock won't cease its humming as I'm waiting for that bell. At 3 o'clock it's over, cause this won't go over well. Cause man, my mom is gonna kill me. She grew up near the DMZ. She'll plan. The question is, how will she? Will it be the bamboo rod? Will it be the firing squad? Will I have to eat her codfish stew? Oh man, what am I gonna do?
Oh my god, could you be any more drama? Your mom is not gonna kill you.
Said the girl who doesn't know my mom at all.
Very nice. Like it's not your own fault we're in this mess to begin with.
My fault? My fault!
So now should I explain my relative relationship to nerds?
That doesn't even mean anything.
Worked for you, Pocket Protector. It's pretty simple. I'm more popular in school. Need an answer off your test, and you give it, not mince words, or else we're sitting in the office of Vice Principal Delancey. I'll probably get suspended, cause you are such a Nancy. I'm trying not to panic, but you spaz and fucking yell. My composure's inorganic, and it's starting to rebel. I should have bit your hand off when you raised it up to tell Miss Ford.
You almost did, still have impressions of your teeth. Fuck me, when Mom finds out I'm done for. I see my life flash right before my eyes at 3. There's nowhere left to call me, make a run for.
Not a single place to hide.
We're looking at filicide.
Tell my friends goodbye, and it was grand. My dad will never understand.
40 days and 40 nights of research and regurgitation.
40 days and 40 nights concealing my true situation.
This test was gonna be my ace.
One more scholastical disgrace to burn, conceal, or shun, to keep the parents blithely unaware. And now I haven't got a prayer, cause wow, my dad is gonna
my mom is gonna slay me.
Then pow, like
life as we knew it's gone for good. And now my death's more than a maybe. Will it be the guillotine, some medieval death machine, grounded till I turn 16 or gray? This has been the crappiest day. I hate you.
Oh, so good.
Thanks.
I like I said, I love seeing adults playing kids. I really do. You can really amp up the kiddiness.
Yeah, we kind of really needed that because in a minute, the vice principal is going to walk in and she's going to be really, really abusive. And it's a little bit easier to swallow, I think, when you temper it with the fact that the performers are actually adults.
You don't have to worry about the kids' mental, taking all of that abuse in. So we'd love to hear a little bit more about the other stuff that you're working on. I know you're so prolific. So what else is happening in your world?
Well, right now I have actually two different interactive non-musical pieces that are being presented. One is for Prospect Theater Company. They're doing a thing called Tree Stories. Their last performance, I think, is tomorrow, which is out in Crab Apple Grove in Riverside Park at around 90th Street, I think. And it was just a simple sort of choose your own adventure story that's kind of it's sort of an immersive experience, and there many other fantastic musical theater writers have contributed to that. Another is it's sort of this. There's a theater company called Artistic Stamp that was born out of the pandemic, run by West Heiler and Shelley Butler Heiler, and it was the idea is that they would hire playwrights to craft narratives that would then be communicated to their subscriber base via letters. So they would then hire actors to transcribe the stories by hand and mail letters to their subscribers. So you're consequently having this sort of one-on-one interaction with an actor pretending to be a character that I created. It's called Gates of Remembering. It's really been interesting. We did it last season. This is their final public season. I think the business model is going to pivot to like schools and large groups. But it's been like really, really interesting writing non-musical stuff. And I have a little pet project on the side right now about that time I did a show with Maria Irene Fornes, who, for the uninitiated, was one of the founding, mothers, I should say, of the avant-garde off-Broadway theater movement in the 1970s. Who's also somewhat famously known for being Susan Sontag's lover for many, many years. There's a fantastic documentary about her, actually, called The Rest I Make Up, that Shum Nemrin made of her. But in the early 2000s, I got roped into acting in a play that she wrote and directed, which had this really, really crazy idea. The idea was that a Chinese actor and a Japanese actor hire a Chicano actor to teach them how to pass for Chicano, because there were no roles for Asians. I mean, it's amazing how times have changed. But she saw me at Theater for the New City and was like, I'm doing this thing and I need an Asian actor. And I think at the time I was just fresh out of college and I was this musical theater guy. I didn't really know what I was doing. So in retrospect, in hindsight, I look back and I think, what a missed opportunity. She really deserved a better actor than me. But I asked her why she wrote the story, and it was so cool. She said basically that she told this random story about being on the 7 train headed out to Flushing, and how after a certain point you could she noticed that at every stop a different ethnic group was getting off the train and getting on the train. So she kind of noticed how you can measure the terrain of New York City by ethnicity and neighborhood based on who gets on and off the train, and that kind of unlocked something in her brain. And so in my version of our story, I'm this petulant kind of know-it-all person who won't give her an inch, and she's just this eccentric, incredibly patient sort of mentor person. And we kind of butt heads a little, initially asking me to lay on a really thick, Chinese accent. I'm like, and then saying, hey, now try a Mexican accent. And I'm like, it's very, It's very, very messy, which I think
Yeah.
people would appreciate it. So
Yeah, I think so too. So people should keep in touch with you via social media at
please
Timothy
do.
Wong Instagram to make sure they know everything that's going on with you. We really appreciate you being here, representing the early years of the Soundbites Festival. It was great to catch up with you, and hopefully we'll get to see your work live very, very soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Timothy. We have one more musical to get through today. We're so proud of this expanding community of writers that started back in 2013, and every year we've added to it. Our final presentation, Rise, was written by writers Gabrielle Mirabella and Ernie Bird, and they have since joined our national writers group, which is a way that this community of writers has been growing. Now that we have begun figuring out how to support one another virtually online, we've been able to expand our support of writers outside of New York City. And Ernie and Gabrielle are part of that. I interviewed them earlier today about their experiences. And then after this interview, we will watch the clip from Rise. And then after the clip, Ernie will be here with us for a Q&A. So let's take a look at my interview earlier today with Gabrielle and Ernie. Abby, Ernie, it's so good to see you guys again. We loved having you last November with our Soundbite streaming live, and we're proud to have you back as an encore presentation of your show, Rise. In the meantime, we've gotten to know you better in our National Writers Group, and I'm going to talk to you all about that. But let's start off talking about the show we're about to see tonight, which is Rise. When we met with you in November, we talked about how this was the beginning of your partnership together. This was the show that you wrote as a project at the musical theater writing program at NYU. So now that we've already talked about where it came from, I'd love to delve a little deeper this time and talk to you about the style of this piece, because this is a very stylized Jack and Jill story with sort of a Soviet feel about it. So I'm wondering, where did that style come from? How did it get shaped?
If the style actually started in the first draft was completely different than what we see today. It was actually set in the 1930s. We had a really fun jazz, twisted jazz score and sort of that Andrew Sisters swagger to it. But then once we really, you have to fit a lot into 10 minutes. So we really started stripping away anything sort of that aesthetic feel, and really went to sort of the energy of the piece, and the piece really narrows down to this contrast between do we stay or do we go. And so you have a lot of energy there between that, like, the more manic side of Jackie, who wants to leave, and Jill, who's just like, no, let's stay. And so book wise, that ended up turning into this just absurdist piece, really this dark, funny, absurdist fantasy, if you will. And then on the other hand, the music completely changed from that first draft as well.
So speaking of music, Ernie, how about from your side of things?
I think that, I got inspired by the book, obviously. I think when we were thinking about the first draft, music was sort of, there were lots of things to cover. So I styled everything with jazz. But here in this draft in particular, in this final version, I had an opportunity to explore myself as a composer a little bit further, because we have this theme of Marxism and the benefits and the dangers of it, and we basically have a mini micro Bolshevik revolution in a size of one household, right? So that's why to me it was fun to explore the 20s, the totalitarian 20s of the USSR, the working class aesthetics, and I am from Ukraine, and I have been raised actively listening to Soviet movies and Soviet music, etc. It's a big part of me. Probably like 50% of my musical theater scores are in one way or another influenced by the Soviet music. So that's why I just went all the way there to see how can music actually narrate the actions, either in a funny way or not so funny way, but more like just explored myself. I don't think I've written anything like this either before or after. So yeah.
Speaking of your writings after, you guys have continued to collaborate together. You work wonderfully well together. And one of your projects was recently in the New York Times as one of the best podcasts for kids. This is a podcast that you guys do together called What Will She Do Next? Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, what will she do next? It's for children, but it's really for kids of all age, including adults. Essentially, each full-length episode, we do have shorter episodes, but each full-length episode sort of highlights one historical woman. And instead of sort of doing a full biography on her life, we really pinpoint one moment in her life where she felt stuck. Oh, am I still here?
You
Sorry,
are.
my internet's a little bad. Okay, great. One moment where she's feeling stuck, and we sort of explore that, and we try to find that answer of how did she move forward from that moment. And that really came from us, the beginning of the pandemic. We had just finished grad school, and we said, you know, what the heck do we do now? And really, we're learning, you know, and we hope children learn through these amazing stories. And yeah, it's a whole lot of fun. Check it out. We're anywhere you get your podcast, you can find us.
All right. And that's called What Will She Do Next? And I recommend it personally myself. I sent it to my niece and nephew who love it. So I can't recommend it highly enough. And another project that you're working on within our National Writers Group with your collaborator, Jesse Field. And this is a musical about the Renaissance Fair. So Ernie, can you tell us a little bit more about this project?
I can tell a little bit about this from my perspective. I think that Gabby and Jesse really wanted to just bring me to the Ren Fair because they're like, "You've never been there?" And I was like, "No, I'm not American. Like, what is this?" So, like, people pretend to be like are they like medieval Renaissance Fair, but this is earlier. Like, what is going on? And then they brought me there, and I was like, I don't know. It was a whole like it was basically a TV show of like Ernie watching like different scenes. I think Gabby even posted that on her Instagram, like Ernie watches like tomatoes. No, Ernie is watching the birds flying. Ernie is doing that. And for me, it was like, I couldn't close my mouth. I was just like, oh my God, this is heaven on earth. I want to live here. I want to, right? And I, before writing for theater, have always been like a folk singer-songwriter. I always, as a Ukrainian, I like folk music a lot, and Ukrainian folk music especially, and it really comes naturally to me. And other European folk music, and not even European either. So I think I like this show, and because I could not only write in just like a musical theater style, but I can write in so many other folk styles that just come naturally to me, and I can truly thrive. And we also have a millennial romance drama that is pretty much, you know, a drama, but that really relates to our generation, mine and Gabby's. And when I tell people about that, they tell me that, you know, it does not get covered that much in musical theater yet. So I think Gabby can touch upon that and other things and expand on that.
Yeah. Falling in love is and making a relationship out of that is much different for our generation than it was for our parents' generation. And so we really wanted to highlight what that experience is to us and to our community. And, you know, all of our characters are around that quarter life crisis time, you know, the age of 25, and they're trying to figure it all out. And we really, instead of leaning into the drama aspect of it, we've really structured a sort of musical farce so that we may laugh at how hard it really can be sometimes, and then try to find a way forward from there.
Well, it's been really great to watch this show grow and change in our National Writers Group, and it's great to have you guys as a part of it. I encourage everybody to follow along as your careers continue to blossom and grow. They can follow you on social media. We'll put your handles down here. And everybody just make sure that you're also in the mailing list for Theater Now, so that if anything is happening with these projects through us, that we can make sure we keep you informed. And now let's see where this wonderful, fruitful partnership began. Let's take a look at Rise.
this pain in my head. I can't stop thinking about this. What's outside that door? Keep your eyes on the floor. I can't anymore. I want more. I haven't seen a day in such a long time. I haven't seen my sister in the sunshine. This pain, trapped inside this dark and empty dungeon, caring for her every want, her every damn whim. This pain. This is not our home. That is not our mother. We have scrubbing. That is nothing. We have buffing. Chill, stop bluffing. Think about the light. Think about the pain in your head. Let's keep working instead and work till we're dead. Oh, now is the time to go. No! Scrubbing keeps me happy, keeps me strong and my mind engaged. No time for thinking or sinking or wanting. I don't want more, I have you. Madam keeps me busy, my tummy full and my hands engaged. Yes, she may be daunting, but even when she's taunting, I don't want more, I have. My rag is my dolly, my broom is my prince. These shoes, they fit my feet. These walls are a palace, this floor isn't dirt. We work, we drink, we meet. Remember when we didn't have meat or bed? And with that said, I gotta go back to scrubbing. But the pain, buff it clean. But the door, ignore. I want more. We can't. We're poor. And there was never any door. Where's the? Where's the? Where's the?
Cliffhanger. We're joined now live by Ernie Bird, who wrote the music for Rise. If anyone has any questions for him, please feel free to put them in the chat. Ernie, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too. Hello.
I wanted to ask you, we've done this streamed now twice, and it's going to be done live in May. What are you looking forward to most about putting this on a stage?
Well, what I'm looking forward of putting that on the stage is I want to see, well, first of all, I want to see how does it play a little bit outside of the piano. I want to see, as a composer, how other instruments can be employed to heighten the drama. But I also want to see the logistics of our characters on the stage and how we can sort of with simple, how can we make with simple solutions make a very effective drama. I think one of the benefits of our piece is that it's in a way very simple. the piece is pretty simple from A to Z. So it gives a lot of space to explore for our director, Jesse Field, and anybody involved, see how are they going to go up the stairs, how are the books gonna fall, how is the meat gonna fall on the floor. So what things are gonna be literal and what things are gonna be metaphorical, and if yes, then how? I think this piece can sort of you can be as creative as you want with this piece. I think.
That's why this kind of developmental process can be so helpful, is answering questions like that, you know?
Yeah.
So you joined our national writers group in January. How has that been? What has it been like to be a part of a group of 10 different writing teams all over the country?
It was wonderful. I cannot emphasize how blessed we are that we joined this group and have the community of writers who support each other, who are always there, giving each other honest critique and supporting, being very supportive. I think being a writer in general is not easy when you don't have support, and this community of people, of writers, allows us to follow the deadlines, allows us to move forward with the projects and eventually make things happen, because writing is about actually writing and making things happen.
Well, you guys certainly make things happen, and you've been continually writing. Again, I cannot recommend enough your podcast, What Will She Do Next? So everybody should make sure they find that, check that out. And I'm really excited to see this Ren Fair musical, because I've been thinking that's such a ripe area for somebody to explore dramatically. So make sure everybody's following those links down below so that you guys can keep up with what Mirabella and Bird are up to. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Ernie.
Thank you very much. And I just want to say special thanks to Theater Now in New York for having this even like second opportunity to for our songs to be showcased online. We're just so grateful about this, and it just means a lot to us. And thank you so much for organizing all of this. We're so blessed and grateful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
So I'm going to bring back on now our artistic director, Tom Morrissey. Hi, Tom.
Hi.
How'd you enjoy the evening?
It was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. Last time we did this, I was co-hosting with you. I so much prefer being an audience member. But I just thought it was wonderful. And the thing it reminded me of when I was watching this is how many different types of voices we have in our writers. How everyone's talking about diversity and inclusion. And for us at Theater Now, it's really about trying to create as many different types of musical theater as possible, because our goal is really to bring more people into musical theater. And, we're all excited. All of us who are here watching this are very excited about musical theater, but I'd like to see more people on this planet turned on by musical theater. And I think that the key to that, I think the goal to that is by having lots of different diverse work. And the one thing I've been very proud about with Sound Bites every year and with our writers groups and everything is the level of diversity that we are bringing in and that we're continuing to look for, because I think we need more stories written by more people that more people can relate to. And I think
agree.
Key.
I agree. And if those people watching also agree, please make sure that you're keeping up with our work. If you have the means and the inclination, we would love to have you as a member. You can do that by going to tnny.org/donate and donate $25 to become a member of Theater Now and stay abreast of everything that we have going on.
And I just want to say one more thing too, is that our goal is to get writers out of the writer's room and to get their pieces up on their feet. That's part of what Sound Bites is about. It gives opportunities for writing teams to see their pieces in front of a live audience with professional actors in a professional setting. But we also, this past year, due to the pandemic, we had to cancel three full productions that were scheduled. One was in the middle of rehearsal. We really want to get back and begin to get those pieces produced. And this has been a tough year for everybody. So if you can help out in any way, it would be greatly appreciated. I know our writers would appreciate it. And we will be producing more musical theater that way.
That's fantastic. We have a few more people that we need to thank. Of course, we want to thank Camille Ann White, our board president, who came in and spoke with us a little bit earlier. We want to thank our casting director, Eric Shark, who's been watching on the stream. And we also want to thank all of our production support. We have our stage manager, Maria Lisa Costa. There she is. Thank you so much for being here with us. Everything ran so smoothly under your
Thank
hands.
you for your patience and for giving me this opportunity. It was really fun.
We have our production coordinator, Paulina Tobar.
Hey.
Hi, Paulina. And I think Sebastian Trevino is not able to come on the screen right now, but he's been running our chat, and he also created the virtual program. So if you want to double check and see who all the actors were this evening, the directors, the writers, you can go to tnny.org/extra-bytes and take a look at the program. Also, if you have not yet planned to join us next week, we would love to have you back, and you can get a link for next week's program also at that same website, tny.org/extra-bytes.
And tell all your friends.
That's right. We also want to thank our full board for all their support. And of course, we want to thank the audience, everybody who was here this evening. We really appreciate you coming and showing the support to people. You'll be getting a survey soon that will ask you for your opinions on the shows, which gives valuable feedback to our writers. Thank you so much for being a part of Sound Bites Extra Bites, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.